Tell me about your history with oil fields.
I'm from Nashville, live in Nashville, Tennessee now, and my first time out to Williston and the Glendive, Montana, and North Dakota. And I was entertaining in Louisiana back in the boom of the 1970s. And I had never seen anything like it because I was raised in Maryland, so first time I'd seen the oil field. And I was playing down there, and the guys used to tease me and say, "Hey, play some oil field music," and they laugh, because there wasn't any. So I got hanging out with them, and I just sort of clicked with the oil field. And I thought it might be neat to do some music for these guys. So I hung out with them about a year and learned their terminology and went to Nashville and wrote 10 songs and recorded them. And I called the album Oilfield Cowboy.
And that's what they know you as ever since.
That's what they know me as ever since, and that's sort of how they got started.
And tell me about some of your songs and what some of the inspiration for some of your songs has been.
Well, to write the songs, the Oilfield Cowboy, that's just sort of the way I saw the oil field. They were kind of a cowboy. They're as I said, the rope was a spinning chain. Their Stetson's a hard hat, But most of the songs were written by talking to people and stories they told me. That's how I got my inspiration for all of the songs, by researching what a service hand was. I was on the Patch Pride CD. I was doing a CD signing in Woodward, Oklahoma, and one of the girls there said, "You need to write a song about us girls that put up with these guys all the time." So I said, "Well, tell me something about it." So they all, a bunch of gals around there, started telling me about all this stuff. And in the back there was a girl in a pair of blue slacks, and she had a baby carriage, a baby in it. She was listening to all this. So she finally pushed her way up through the crowd, and she come up and said, "Hey, mister, I want to tell you what it's like being married to an oilfield guy." She said, "When he comes home, the toilet seat's up, there's clothes everywhere, and all he wants is sex." And she turned around and walked away, and those girls just absolutely howled. And they said, "Well, that's right." So that's the kind of things that your song comes from. What the things like that they tell you.
Now you're in Williston now, doing some research about the current boom. Are we going to see some more songs coming forward?
I hope so. Yes, I'm working on a song. I was telling you earlier. A company man friend of mine told me about whiskey bits. What whiskey bits used to be in the old oil field. So I'm going to try to weave a song around the whiskey bit theme.
So what's a whiskey bit?
The whiskey bit was back in the old days. Some of the bits were so poor they couldn't sell them unless they included a fifth of whiskey with the bit when the pusher bought the bit. So the better the whiskey, the worse the bit. So they said if you got a quart of Crown, you knew you were going to be fishing for 2 or 3 days. Pretty soon, because the bit was going to tear up. But if you got a quart of Everclear, that grain alcohol, you can be okay. Your bit was going to last for probably several weeks. So that's kind of the story he told me of the whiskey bits.
Tell us about your website and how people can find your music.
Okay, my website is very simple. It's oilfieldcowboy.com. I am on iTunes. There's 3 CDs: Oilfield Cowboy, Patch Pride, and Boom or Bust. When they go to my website, they can listen to the songs.
And if any merchants are interested in carrying your CDs,
while I'm out here, they could call me on my cell phone, at 615-210-1116. Well, anybody who's interested or just wants to call me and say hi, I love to talk to the oilfield people and the merchants.
All right. So tell me, you've been interested in the Bakkens for a while. You talked about you've been in Oklahoma and Louisiana and Texas as well, the Texas oil fields, and that's where you've done a lot of your research. Now you're looking at the Bakken, and you had some correspondence first, though, with someone from a church of all places in Williston. So tell me about how that went down and how that's come into play with your research.
Okay, yeah. Beth Olson is the music director at the Lutheran Church there in Williston, and not this summer, but summer last year, they had a big program for about 1,500 people, and a lot of them were oil field. So her son had found my music on the internet, so she called and asked if they could do a couple of my songs with the choir, and so she did the Derrick Man Tool Pusher song, and they did the Patch Pride song. So that's how I got involved with the church. So when I came up here, I went to meet her personally, you know, and then yesterday I had some coffee with the folks at the church. Just a great bunch of people. So that's sort of how I got connected with the Lutheran Church.
And then you're also doing a show at a local bar in Williston as well. And even some of the church ladies, I understand, are planning on coming.
That's what they said. Yeah, so they're going to come down there. So interesting. Yes, it'll be at Cattails on Main Street in Williston next Saturday night. I'll probably play from about 9 till 10:30, 9 to 10 or 10:30 that night.
Is there a cover?
I don't think so.
Okay, so a chance to sample your music in person.
Yes. The guy that owns Cattails, I believe this is going to be an oil field appreciation night, but he said the oil field's been really good to them, so this is just like, he'd been wanting to do this, and somebody gave him the Boomer Bust CD, and when he played that, he said, oh, this is what I've been looking for. This is, you know, get this guy out here, you know, we'll do the oil field appreciation night, so.
Wes St. John, you can find him at oilfieldcowboy.com. For Mark's Group Broadcasting, I'm Emily Boyd.